One fateful day, something truly extraordinary and terrifying happened. All 8 billion inhabitants of Earth, no matter where they were or what they were doing, received the same chilling news. Some saw it on TV while relaxing on their couches, others were hit with the news while scrolling through social media feeds, and still more received the information through a simple phone notification. The message was universal, and even stranger, a few people claimed to have heard it in a dream, a voice that spoke clearly, in all languages, ensuring that every person understood the gravity of what was about to unfold. The message was brief but haunting: I have good news and bad news for you. Let's start with the bad news. You are all characters in a YouTube video where your planet will face a hypothetical situation. In your case, the moon will break in half. For the audience, this is merely a story, a piece of entertainment. But for you, this is your reality now. The voice lingered ominously, as though it was savoring the collective dread. The good news is... well, there isn't any good news. But don't worry, the complete apocalypse isn't going to begin on your planet. Just maybe a small part of it. Have a nice day. Panic swept across the globe. Social media exploded with theories, fears, and frantic discussions. What was happening? Was this some kind of mass delusion, a hoax, or something even more sinister? Streets filled with people searching for answers as the news spread like wildfire. Scientists and governments scrambled to find an explanation, but none came. However, after a few days of high tension, a strange calm settled over the world. People began to wonder if it had all been a bizarre prank, an overactive imagination, or simply a collective hallucination. The moon still looked normal in the night sky, bright and whole. The initial fear started to fade, and many returned to their daily routines. It seemed that life would go on as usual. But just as the world began to relax, the calm was shattered by an unexpected and devastating discovery. Scientists, who had been closely monitoring space after the strange message, detected a massive object hurtling toward Earth. It was a colossal meteorite, moving with unimaginable speed. Calculations showed that Earth would narrowly escape impact by mere thousands of miles. The bad news. The moon wouldn't be so lucky. All eyes turned to the sky as the enormous meteorite drew closer. The world held its breath, collectively watching as the meteor sliced through space, directly toward the moon. In a moment of stunning cosmic violence, the meteor impacted with such force that it split the moon perfectly in half. Both halves drifted apart slightly, but remained close together due to the moon's gravity. The meteor, its destructive job done, continued on past Earth, disappearing into the cold vastness of space. The sight of the moon, now in two halves, left people worldwide in awe and disbelief. The iconic celestial body that had watched over humanity for millennia had been cleaved in two, yet it hadn't disintegrated. The two halves hovered in space, still visible from Earth, but separated by a small gap. The immediate fear was replaced with relief as scientists explained that the moon's gravity was strong enough to keep the two halves from drifting away. They assured the public that, given enough time, perhaps billions of years, the two halves would rejoin to form a whole moon again. For now, though, Earth was safe. There was no immediate danger, and the world breathed a sigh of relief. Celebrations broke out. Maybe the ominous message had been wrong. Maybe this was all it would amount to, a strange and temporary scar on the moon that would eventually heal itself. But just as people began to feel secure again, a new horror unfolded. As if the universe itself had decided that Earth's problems weren't over, another meteor appeared, this one even stranger than the last. This meteor was shaped like a giant shoe, tumbling through space toward the already fractured moon. It struck one of the moon's halves with terrifying precision, shattering it into a million pieces. The destruction was cataclysmic. While one half of the moon remained intact, the other half disintegrated into countless fragments. These pieces, now uncontrolled, began raining down toward Earth. At first, the debris caused mesmerizing meteor showers, illuminating the night sky in streaks of light. People gathered outside to watch, some even marveling at the beauty of the event, unaware of the greater disaster yet to come. While smaller fragments burned up upon entering Earth's atmosphere, larger chunks remained in orbit, forming a chaotic debris field around the planet. Over time, this debris settled into a ring-like structure around Earth, much like the rings of Saturn. What had once been the moon, a beacon of stability and light, was now a belt of destruction encircling the planet. This new ring of debris wreaked havoc on Earth's satellite systems. Communication networks collapsed, and internet services became unreliable. For a time, humanity was thrown back into an era before the digital revolution, cut off from the technologies it had come to depend on. It took years to restore a semblance of connectivity. The International Space Station, a symbol of human achievement, was destroyed by moon debris, though its crew had been safely evacuated before the disaster. Life on Earth continued, but with a dark cloud hanging over it. The most immediate concern arose from the sea. The moon, even in its fragmented state, still held sway over the planet's tides. Coastal regions began to experience bizarre tidal shifts. Some areas that once saw gentle tides were now hit by violent surges of water, while others experienced long periods of low tide, disrupting the delicate balance of ecosystems. Marine life suffered greatly. Sea turtles, fish, seabirds, and other creatures that relied on the moon's rhythms for migration and feeding were thrown into confusion. Their natural cycles were upended, causing widespread ecological damage. Humans, too, began to feel the strain. Without the moon's stabilizing influence, the planet's rotation and axial tilt became unpredictable. The days grew shorter, no longer lasting the familiar 24 hours. Earth's rotation had been subtly slowed by the moon's gravitational pull, but now, with only a portion of the moon left, the planet spun faster. Days were now only 15 hours long. This rapid shift threw the world into chaos. Sleep cycles were disrupted, with people struggling to adapt to shorter nights and longer periods of daylight. Insomnia became a widespread issue, affecting mental and physical health. Businesses, schools, and industries were forced to overhaul their schedules to accommodate the shorter days. The global economy took a significant hit, with productivity dropping as workers found it harder to adjust to the relentless new pace of life. As the years passed, further consequences of the moon's destruction became apparent. Earth's climate began to spiral into chaos. The moon had served as a stabilizing force, keeping the planet's tilt steady. Without its full influence, Earth's axis began to wobble. This led to extreme weather conditions. Summers grew unbearably hot, winters became harsher, and storms increased in frequency and intensity. In regions that once enjoyed mild breezes, hurricanes and typhoons now raged. Calm seas turned deadly, with towering tsunamis devastating coastal cities. Animals that relied on the moon for navigation during migration became lost, their instincts confused by the dimmed light, and the moon's altered gravitational pull. The once rhythmic, predictable cycles of life were thrown into chaos. Some species went extinct, unable to adapt to the new conditions, while others evolved rapidly in a desperate bid to survive. Humanity, as always, proved resilient. Over the years, people slowly adapted to the new reality. Scientists worked tirelessly to restore communication systems, and new technological advancements emerged to cope with the moon's absence. Eyesight in humans began to change as well. Over generations, people developed larger eyes to compensate for the dimmer nights without the moon's full light. Night vision improved, and cities began to rely less on artificial lighting. Thousands of years passed, and the Earth was now a completely different place. The moon, once a beacon of stability and beauty, had become a distant memory, replaced by the eerie ring of debris that hung in the sky like a reminder of what had been lost. Humanity had evolved to live in this new world of unpredictable days, darker nights, and chaotic seasons. But then, one day, the voice that had spoken to Earth long ago returned. It said, "Your story ends here because the video ends. I'm sorry. Good night." The message left people puzzled. What did it mean? Was their existence truly part of some cosmic story? Had the disasters been foretold by forces beyond their control? Reflecting on the past, they remembered how much the world had changed since the moon had broken apart. Life had been challenging, but humanity had survived. People had learned to adapt, proving once again that no matter how dire the circumstances, the human spirit was capable of persevering. Yet, as they looked up at the ring of debris that had replaced their moon, there was a lingering sense of loss. The moon had always been a constant, a reminder of the cosmos beyond, of cycles of time. But when the moon had grown brighter and larger, nobody had paid attention. And in the end, that small, almost imperceptible change had set off a chain of events that would alter Earth forever.